Welcome to Season 4 of Your Next Mission video podcast. Today we're wrapping up our three-part series, Teaching Moments with Dr. Paul Lawrence. We covered veterans benefits and financial wellness in part 1 and 2. Now this week, in our final episode, we'll be talking about education and specifically the GI Bill. Dr. Lawrence will tell us how to build your skills and make yourself more marketable through education and the use of the GI Bill. He'll also talk about the importance of education, your overall transition plan, and the inner workings of securing your GI Bill benefit. If you're transitioning or planning to transition, you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast, where we tell the stories of those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. From transition to financial wellness, VA benefits to mental health, we cover issues facing veterans, active military, and their families. Now here's your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley.
Hello, Thrill Warriors, past and present, and your families, and thank you for your service to our great country. Now, before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union and Purdue University Global, for making Your Next Mission happen. They love our veterans and families, and as I always say, we love them too. As I said earlier, we have a great show for you today, focusing on education, specifically the GI Bill. This is the final episode of a three-part series, Teaching Moments with Dr. Paul Lawrence. And I'm happy to welcome back a great friend, a businessman, author, passionate veteran advocate, and former Undersecretary of Benefits at the Department of Veterans Affairs, Dr. Paul Lawrence. Sir, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be back with you, Sergeant Major.
Well, I appreciate it. For those who didn't get to see you last week, would you tell the audience a little bit about yourself here?
So let's see. I grew up in a military family. My father was a career Army officer, traveled all around the world fighting the Cold War, lived in Europe. I was actually born in Japan. So it was a very exciting time. Let's see. After I fulfilled my ROTC requirement, I became a consultant in some of the big accounting firms, serving the federal government by and large. And then from 2018 to the beginning of 21, I served as Undersecretary for Benefits, as you pointed out. Since then, I've been writing books and trying to get information to veterans about what their benefits are that they earn for their service, defending our country, and getting the right information to them so they can figure out how to access them and use those to help their life.
Yeah. Is mostly what you do is just consulting work now? Is it just a full-time consultant? Is that what it is?
That's right. My for-profit work is doing consulting, right, around some of the things I know from before, as well as some of the things I learned in government. My not-profit work is I'm on some boards, and then my philanthropy work is just helping veterans get information so they understand what their benefits are. I mean, being in the Undersecretary for Benefits, you learn a lot about how they're processed, what they are, and the like. And I just remember getting out, hearing people talk about benefits, and it wasn't that they were intentionally wrong, but they were not accurate because they just didn't understand. And I realized I had learned a lot about all the benefits and all the things veteran service entitles veterans to. So I wanted to, get that information out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that talk about benefits and entitlements and all that kind of stuff and really probably don't know much about it, I guess.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. That's much more true than you realize. And, the loudest voice gets the attention. Someone heard something and they say it and it becomes true and it's not, right? And so I think, anything I can do to help veterans better understand and access their benefits just really is rewarding.
Yeah. Sir, for the past couple of weeks, you provided some valuable information about veteran benefits and really financial wellness. I'm excited to continue our series today to talk about education, specifically the GI Bill. Sir, would you talk about the qualifications, specifically about about the benefits of the GI Bill?
Sure, right. So this is really a powerful benefit, and it's been expanded and changed over time. So it's really different than maybe what you thought about when you first heard about it, right? So a couple things. First, this depends upon you getting an honorable discharge. Like that's the law. So it's very, very important you get an honorable discharge. That's probably good advice generally, but this is an example where there's not much leeway. And then if you serve for 3 years, you can have access to essentially a free ride at college, a benefit that's probably worth north of $100,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Serve 3 years, serve honorably, and you can have access to 4 years of college, 36 months of college, right? And so this is something that can change your life. Again, I've known many veterans, and maybe you do, Jack, who didn't go to college. They never had it in their family, but thanks to their service now, the first one in their family to get a college education. So this is game changing kind of stuff. In addition, it isn't just 4 years of college, it can be used for credentials, certificates, apprenticeships, flight school. There's a whole bunch of different things there. So chances are, if you want some education after serving the way I've just described, the GI Bill is there for you. It's a great benefit.
Yeah. How should somebody go about securing a GI Bill? I mean, you automatically get when you get them out of service, right?
Yeah, so you're automatically good. There's a few nuances. The way it normally works is the following: you get accepted into whatever educational thing you want to do, then you engage the VA and you apply for the GI Bill benefit. So it's kind of a two-step process, and it really is pretty seamless. They're generally pretty good at processing these applications, so it's a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about transition. Why are education and the GI Bill such an important part of that transitioning plan? I know why, but let's tell the audience why it is.
Well, obviously, you want to realize, like, I want to build my skills, right? So, one of the ways to build your skills is through education, right? And probably after you've served, you have a lot of experiences, idea, which maybe you didn't have when you began service about what you want to do, what you want to be, and your life's pursuit. So, it's a really great thing to do. And again, compared to your civilian counterparts, you don't necessarily have to go into debt, right? Not only does it pay for room, board, tuition, and the like, but it also comes with a monthly housing allowance, right? So you get money to live if you decide to do in residence, right? You decide to go to college and be there. So it
Hmm.
really is, game changing kind of stuff in terms of, your path and done right can really make a big difference, right? I mean, you've seen the statistics on, if you go in and get certain degrees, starting salaries in six figures, for example.
Mm. Is there a lot of veterans that never use the GI Bill?
Yeah, believe it or not, not everybody, realizes what a benefit it is, right? Some age out, right? It was only good for a certain period of time after service and you didn't use it. But in 2013, the law changed so that no 2000 the law changed now so that you can use it forever. So once you leave service after a certain date, you can use this however long. But also, I don't know that everybody wants to go to college, right? That's kind of one of these things that we need to think about. But there's other paths besides going to college that the GI Bill can help you with. So, for example, in this day and age, people are less and less focused on college, especially around the technology industry. You can get a certificate in cybersecurity, right? Very short period of time that will make you very, very attractive to employers, for example. You can get a certificate in Microsoft, engineering, Salesforce, these very hot technologies that suddenly will make you, very attractive. So I would encourage folks who, want to get some education, want to improve their skills, to look at what the possibilities of the GI Bill are. So let me just finish on this. At the private flight schools I used to visit back in the day, you would see a sign say, in 18 months, you will make more than $150,000 a year. And they will teach you how to become a pilot. You
Oh,
can use your
wow.
GI Bill for that. So there's lots of very attractive career opportunities that the GI Bill can support you in that are not necessarily 4 years of sitting in a college if that's something you're not interested in.
Can I share that GI Bill with my family
Um,
anyway?
y yes, if you've done this, but this is a Department of Defense thing. You had to do this while you were in service. The Department of Defense allows you to transfer the GI Bill to your dependents during, like, a recruiting window, right? So you say, "Hey, I'll sign up for some more period of time to continue on in the military," and then you can transfer your benefit. You have to have done that while you were in service, not afterwards.
So if you go after, you can't do that. Just only
Yeah, you
while you're in
cannot do
service.
that.
Oh,
You had to
wow,
do it
that's an
while you're
important
in
point.
service.
Now you can share it with your spouse and your children, your dependents, all your dependents, while on
That's right.
active duty.
That's right.
That's good, friend. Sir, hold that thought. We're talking with Dr. Paul Lawrence, author, veteran advocate, and you're watching Your Next Mission video podcast with me, your host, Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this discussion, and I know that you are, please like us. Click on that subscribe button. Also, click on the bell next to the subscribe button to receive notifications of all of our upcoming podcast releases. Sir, what if someone doesn't want to go to college? You talked about that a minute ago. They want to, work out in, non-traditional jobs that don't require education. Does the GI Bill, like you guys, you said that a minute, the GI Bill covers all that also?
It can, it depends. So probably the way to think about the sergeant major is to work back from what you want to do.
Hmm.
Like say, hey, my perfect world, I'd like to be an electrician. I'd like to be, a beautician. I'd like to be something like that. And then to work back from that to figure out what you need. Do you need 4 years of college for what you want to be? Maybe not. But there's a whole series of organizations that do training in non-traditional way. I'd like to be a medical technician. Okay, you can get a certificate much shorter period of time that qualifies you to do that. And again, a little bit of research will show you how to get that and whether the GI Bill can support it. Chances are the answer is yes. And so it's very, very different than before. In addition, even if you have education, getting a certificate or an additional credential can really help you bypass, the competition at promotion time. Imagine if you got a certificate that demonstrated you were good at project management compared to some of your peers who didn't have that. Again, the GI Bill offers you a lot in terms of, not only building skills, but in terms of advancement as well.
Yeah. I thought at one point, like some of the military occupation skills within the military, they was like if I was an engineer in the Army, that they was certifying certain jobs within the engineer community before I ever got out of the service. I think our education system is doing that now. I don't know if that's true or not, is it?
Yes, it is true. Some of that helps you, but also don't forget some of your training in the military might be a little dated. Things change. And so
Hmm.
a certificate or an extra little class or course or something like that might also be needed to keep you, make you more relevant to what's gone on in the discipline or the field.
Yeah. Well, it may also help if you get certified while you're in the military. Maybe when you come out, you go to a higher paying job when they hire you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. All these credentials can really help you get to a better job. That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Lawrence, don't go anywhere. This is a great discussion. It's about helping our veteran community and their families and the military find employment. We got a lot more to talk about, so don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching your Next Mission video podcast.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, proudly presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Purdue Global. You're ready for a comeback, and with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. Start your comeback at PurdueGlobal.edu. USAA.
A promise is a trust not to be broken, whether spoken with an oath
solemnly swear
or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back to part three of your series of teaching moments with Dr. Paul Lawrence. And I want all of our viewers to reach out to him directly. Tell us about your transition. We certainly want to help you. Tell us what topics you want us to cover on the show. Remember, it's not my show, it's our show. You can call or text me at 844-424-1134, and I'll actually reach back out to you. Or send me an email at smatilly@yournextmission.org. We're blessed to be here today with Dr. Paul Lawrence, businessman, author, passionate veteran advocate, and former Undersecretary for Benefits at the VA Veterans Benefits Administration. Sir, we're heading into our final segment with you today, and I've certainly enjoyed this, and I hope you've enjoyed it also. I just have a couple of more questions. I understand the GI Bill benefit has a fixed time period in which you can be used. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's not true
Oh,
anymore, right? So the Forever GI Bill took that away. So you can use it forever until you've run out of the eligibility, right? So they give you a finite amount of education, so 36 months of college or the like. So you can use that forever, after you've left. It used to be capped at about 15 years.
oh wow. Would you talk about the value of having a plan in place to use the benefit?
Oh, this is tremendously important. I'm so glad you asked, right? So the benefit is 36 months. 36 months of college. Remember, college year is nine months, so four
Hmm.
times nine is 36 months. Okay. What often happens is veterans, they leave the service. They say, "Oh, I got to go to college just cause," and they wake up and maybe they change their major, and in a year or two or so they figure out what they want to be, and now all of a sudden the benefit isn't going to get them the rest of the education they need, so they end up taking out loans and going into debt. They say, "Oh, if only I had known and been better focused." So having a plan as to what you want to do with those 36 months of college education is really, really important, because it does run out and nobody can reset it. Okay, so if you spent 2 years kind of finding yourself and doing whatever and figured out, "Oh, this is what I want to be. Now I need 4 more years of college." You're kind of done at four total. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and really smart veterans who have figured this one out, right? And this is all fine, which is if you decide, "Hey, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a medical doctor." Well, that's 4 years of undergraduate work and then 4 or more years of medical school. And
Hmm.
medical school is really, really expensive. College is expensive, but medical school is really, really expensive. Smart person with a plan will say, "I'll save my GI Bill for medical school and I'll get my own self through undergraduate. And I'll really take advantage of the GI Bill in terms of paying for medical school or law school or some of these advanced degrees." So with a plan, you can figure out how to get the most for your GI Bill benefit.
Yeah. Someone as you was talking, I was thinking about do we set money aside for people to use their GI Bill? There's so much per person. Is there so much money that's set aside or something? No.
No, no. The way it's done is Congress authorizes all the money for benefits every year.
Hmm.
It's called a non-discretionary spend. It's just the benefits that are there for veterans.
Hmm.
So the money's available for veterans.
Sir, before we go anywhere, I know you got a upcoming book is coming out July 4th entitled "Veterans Benefits for You." Can you tell the audience about that?
Sure. One of the things I learned when I was undersecretary of benefits was about all the benefits, how they work, how they operate, and from the VA perspective, how they're administered. And I also knew that I learned that veterans had a lot of questions about these benefits. There's a lot of them, they're kind of complicated and intricate. So when I got out, I said, I want to see if there's a book where they're all in one place and they're explained. And there really wasn't. So I wrote this book to provide information about all the benefits in one place, try to make it easy to understand, not so complicated that you had to be a lawyer to figure it out, and accessible so veterans could figure out, "Hey, this is what I've earned. This explains it, and this shows me how I can go about, using them."
Where do they get a copy of your book? Where's the best
It's
place?
on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. Just search the name Veterans Benefits for You, and you can pre-order now. I believe it'll be out July 4th,
Yeah.
and great gift for Mother's or Father's Day.
Well, this may be a crazy idea, but why don't you contact DOD and have them put that into their educational system with the non-commissioned officer and the officers? Also, give a copy of your book to people that come into the military or all services and about learning about their benefits when they first come in. Without, I mean,
Well, I'm working with the publisher to figure out how to get it in front of the folks who could best use it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? As you point out, 200,000 service members transition every year. They get a nano blast of benefits at the TAP program, but we know that's not enough, right? Other leaders are worried about transition and benefits. So yeah, I'd like to figure out how to get this in front of them so they realize here's one source of information, easy to understand, it would help veterans continue to access their benefits and pursue their life.
I think the other thing would be how do we get them to the spouses?
Right.
Spouses who are within the military. I think the spouses would certainly enjoy reading the book and finding out because I think really I got to tell you, I think spouses probably know more about benefits and entitlements than the active duty service or the veteran itself.
Oh, sure. No, that's totally makes some sense. In my life, my wife takes care of all the healthcare stuff. She just speaks that language, and I know that she can handle all the bureaucrats pleasantly.
Hey, sir. First of all, let me tell you, it's been great having you on the show. And again, I've said this the last couple of times we talked. First of all, thanks for your friendship. Thanks for what you're doing for the veteran community, and thank you for caring. I mean, I wish there was more people like yourself. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, but you're a person that just sticks out in front of everybody else. So I appreciate all that you're doing and continue to do for our veteran community and their families. Any final thoughts? Anything that we missed that we should have covered?
No, thank you, Sergeant Major. I thought this series was really good series. Happy to come back if you get any questions and talk more about it. I mean, yeah, I guess I would point out there's one nonprofit I would call your viewers and listeners to, and you might want to talk to them. It's called Service to Schools. Service
Hmm.
to Schools.
Hmm.
And what they do is they work with service members and veterans to try to get them into some of the most prestigious universities because you think, hey, I wasn't good at this and whatever, I could never do anything. Come to find out, some of the most elite universities, Harvard, the Ivies, the like, really are anxious to recruit veterans. So, Service to Schools works with veterans or service members for free to get them ready to go into some of these prestigious schools. And it's not just officers, it's enlisted people, right? They proudly talk about the number of enlisted service members who got out and went into these schools. So, I'd encourage folks not to be discouraged if you weren't a good student in high school. There's great opportunities out there, and there are nonprofits like Service to Schools that can help you really take advantage of your education benefits.
Yeah, and now when you look at the education program, a lot of people that stay in the military for an extended period of time have just as much education, have 4 years and master's degrees, really on the listed side. They're coming out pretty well educated when they get out of the service like that. So, but I think the majority of people, that 200,000 to get out, I would think the majority of them are really junior enlisted that are coming out that need assistance in finding employment. I said wrapping up this show, but what is there anything from the other couple of shows that we did? Anything that you maybe talk about those two that you may have missed?
Well, I would just emphasize again, pay attention to your finances. You got to be good at this. This is not one of those things that's optional. You got to be good at this. And again, keep your record in terms of disability compensation. Keep your records with you. Keep your healthcare records. Keep your records. Keep your DD 214. Have all this available so when the time comes, it'll just be easier if you do apply for disability compensation.
Absolutely. Sir, again, I can't thank you enough, and keep up the good work. And again, I'm here to help you in any way I can. God bless you, and hooah!
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again to Dr. Paul Lawrence for being with us today. I'm Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major Army, and you've been watching Your Next Mission video podcast, and thank you for watching today. Please visit our website at yournextmission.org and leave me a review. I always say I hope it's a good review, but if it's a bad one, I guess I can take that too. You can also visit our nonprofit partners there who can provide you with so many services that will assist you in your transition from the military. Also, please visit our corporate partners and see all the jobs that are available. Please know we want to assist you any way we can. I always like to say that twice. Please know we want to assist you any way we can. Please follow me on all my personal social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Rumble. And if you enjoyed this discussion with Dr. Lawrence, please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. And also, don't forget, click on the bell next to the subscribe button too. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Please leave me a message or send me a text at 844-424-1134 or send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. Thanks again to Dr. Lawrence for joining us today. It was just great having him on the show, not just this week, but throughout the series of teaching moments with Dr. Paul Lawrence. And it always makes me feel good to see somebody like Dr. Lawrence come on the show and really want to make a difference in the lives of our veteran community, not just the veterans, but the military spouses. He's a person that's making a difference for our country and for our veteran community. So if you haven't seen his book, I know I showed you on the show, get his book, read it. Tell me what you think about it. And we'll see if we can make a better edition the following year. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks to New Mind Studios and, of course, our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union and Purdue University Global. We appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hooah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.